Hi, my name is Emma Reidy and I work as a video producer at the National Theatre. So it's my job to film trailers for our shows and create video content to help promote the work of the National Theatre more broadly. So if you've seen it on our social channels, it's probably something that me or my team have made. Over the years, I've also made a lot of videos for Connections, including a documentary following the process from the very beginning to the very end. So I'm pretty familiar with the Connections Festival and the things that are asked of you as part of the process. And I think you're all in for an absolute treat. Connections is one of the best things about the National Theatre as far as I'm concerned. So I'm really excited to be able to speak to you all directly and offer a few tips on how to film your performances. As part of Connections, you're always asked to record your home performance, and that's what's sent into the National Theatre and for the directors to watch. So I'm here today to help give you a few tips and a bit of advice on ways to shoot your performances. And given the socially distanced way you're working at the moment, you may want to extend this to filming rehearsals to share with the wider group if you can't all be in the room at the same time. When thinking about how to film, one thing that's extremely important is locking off your shot. So this means securing it in a way that means it won't move during the performance. A phone in particular is quite difficult to keep steady when it's handheld, so you can do this in a couple of ways. If you have a little bit of budget, a phone tripod is a great way to secure a lock camera, and it comes in as little as kind of £15 from Argos, Amazon, eBay, those kinds of places. Some have extendable legs that will reach to the floor, and others will require you to kind of position your little mini tripod onto a table or something that gives it a bit of height. So if not, I'd suggest securing a phone between a few heavy objects, so books would work, and then building up to the optimum height. Ideally, you'd be getting the level of the camera to roughly match the eye line of the performers. If you're shooting on one level, then that should be really possible. If you're shooting onto an elevated stage that's a bit higher up, then you would want to try and give your camera as much height as you possibly can. It's always better to be shooting down onto performers than shooting from below. Also, it sounds obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway, please make sure that you're filming in landscape rather than portrait, as that's the best way to ensure that you're covering as much of the stage as possible. Stating the obvious, it's always great to have a proper camera to shoot on. So if you have or know anyone who has a DSLR, then that's great. You'll just need to make sure that your memory card is large enough to capture the full show. Anything above 32GB memory should be suitable for the length of your performances. DSLR cameras do require lenses, so if you have an option between those, you're going to want to choose whichever is widest. Being able to capture the entire space is the most important thing when documenting your show. But for most of the groups, I imagine that you'll use smartphones or iPads. And why wouldn't you? Cameras in phones are excellent these days, and there's a few cool options for multi-camera records that I'll chat through a little bit later. You only need to use one camera, but you're totally welcome to use two, and it can really enhance your finished product if you're able to use a couple of angles. Please note that this will require you to do some edit work, so I'd say only choose a two-camera setup if you or someone in your group is really comfortable with editing the two camera angles together. There are phone apps that can help with this. So one is called Double Take, and that's a free app for iPhone only that allows you to connect two iPhones together to create a multi-camera recording. Switcher Studio is another Apple product, and that lets you capture and stream video from multiple iPhones and iPads and edit it together in real time. The app isn't free, but you are able to sign up for a free trial. And ManyCam is an app for both Android and Apple products. So this also allows you to connect multiple cameras and even live stream your performance. So this could be a good option for helping the company feel like they have a live audience if COVID regulations restrict the numbers that are able to come in to physically sit in the audience. It's really important that the wide camera, camera A, is fixed in the same position. For your second camera, camera B, it would be great if this was a closer angle, slightly zoomed in so that we can see more of the actors' faces. This, however, will need to move, which could be very simply done during the performance. Again, it can be mounted on a really simple desk tripod using a phone as the camera. I'd strongly advise using a simple desk tripod for the second camera if possible. This will ensure that you have a steady shot without any distracting wobbles, whilst being able to move the camera to focus on different areas of the stage. It would just require somebody to be stood by the camera and to move the tripod slightly so that you can follow the action as it unfolds on stage. So, when capturing your performance, it's most important that we see as much of the stage as possible. Obviously, your ability to do that depends on how you're staging your piece. So for anything that is staged end on, it would be great to place the camera as centrally as possible so that you can get the same perspective as the audience. For anything staged in the round, it's about responding to the performers, so it's usually helpful to position the camera where the majority of the action is directed. So if slightly more is performed to audiences at this side, then it might make sense for you to place your camera there. Again, try to position the camera far enough away from the stage and the performers so that you can see most of the performance itself. And if you've gone for a split audience on two sides with the performers in the middle, then it's best to position the camera at one of the corners of the stage, facing towards the opposite corner. Often in theatre, we want to create atmosphere using lighting, and that can mean we can choose quite dimly lit scenes for effect. So if you have a lighting rig overhead or you're using stand lights on the stage, you just might want to think about dialing those up for the purposes of filming, so that coverage is slightly broader and captures more of the staging. Our eyes can catch so much more light than our cameras can, so anything it's possible to do to help them out would be beneficial. If you're using phones or iPads to record this, then the internal mic should be able to pick up the action clearly enough, just providing that it's located close enough to the stage and to the actors. You could also explore getting a really simple external microphone that will plug straight into your iPhone or Android phone. These can be between £25 to about £100 and really easily findable if you search something like external phone microphones on Amazon or something similar to that. For DSLR cameras or anything bigger than that, you will require an external microphone to be able to pick up the audio. As with theatre, it's always handy to do a dress rehearsal. So if you can find the time, do test the filming out on a run of the show before your performances. This can help you to see how it's looking and spot any adjustments or tweaks you might want to make to the lighting, the sound, or the camera angles. Thank you very much for listening and best of luck with your performances.